Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Is Teal Insane? As I attempt to complete another Ratchet & Clank game, wrench only. Though I think we can hyperstrike the word attempt from that sentence, because I have succeeded. Sort of. Before we get into this, we will be going into spoiler territory, so whilst I'd love for as many people to watch as possible, I respect you may not want to see stuff from Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. So thank you for watching, I'd appreciate if you left a like and subscribed, and I hope you have a nice day. So, why did I say sort of? You see, Ratchet's a bit of an idiot. It's been a few years since Ratchet & Clank have stopped a universe-ending cataclysm, and as a result, Ratchet is now the cause of a universe-ending cataclysm. Except it's every universe! Clank rebuilds the Dimensionator so Ratchet can find the Lombaxes, Nefarious steals it, and then Ratchet shoots this very volatile and unstable device. Nicely done, Ratchet. I'm not even mad that nearly every universe ended. I'm mad that you fired a gun! How dare you in my wrench-only run? Okay, joking aside, I think it's important to state that the wrench in this game is ludicrously powerful. Throughout the series, it's been consistent that hyperstriking deals the most damage, and whilst at times it is risky, it is worth the risk. In Rift Apart, however, throwing the wrench deals as much damage as a hyperstrike, meaning you can keep your distance and still deal punishing blows. This is especially helpful as the first major boss is against Nefarious and he's in a ship over a cliff. He's not super close, so you do have to be a little risky, and at this early stage with little health it is challenging, but nothing I can't handle. Honestly, this is a really great start to the run though. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Oh no! Oh my god! Oh my god! Sorry, I need to see something. I don't care if it kills me. I need to know. Is there ground there? No! How the hell did I do that? The adventure truly begins as we arrive in an alternate dimension in Nefarious City. Ratchet and Clank are separated, Nefarious becomes Emperor, and Clank's damaged. So, going better than usual then. Throughout this run, I attempt to do everything that's possible, so any alternate paths that yielded gold bolts, Rhino spy bots, or armour, I tried to collect, assuming it was possible. I'll get to what wasn't possible in a little bit. And it's a good job that I did this because the armour is a very valuable resource in this run. Simply collecting armour grants you a specific perk. It could be a resistance to a certain type of enemy, which is super helpful in itself, but one of them gives your wrench a power boost. At its maximum, it's a 20% boost, which will really make a difference later on. Whilst we're on the subject of armour, I want to talk about how they're mostly hidden in these little pocket dimensions, and honestly, I wish there were more of them. After the first Ratchet game, I feel the series has been 95% combat, 5% platforming, and because of the versatility you have from the hover boots, wall running, phantom dashing, and rift tethering, chaining them in quick succession, this series has never felt so fun in its platforming approach. These pocket dimensions are just a ludicrously fun time, and I'd totally be up for some DLC of some super challenging versions. I don't even want a reward for it, I just want to tackle them, they are so fun! Anyway, back to the action. Honestly, Nefarious City is pretty easy. Not even the boss is a major threat, and that's mainly because of how fast Ratchet moves in this game. It's so easy to stun enemies or hyperstrike in quick succession. Phantom dashing is also incredibly helpful as you are invincible as you use it, so it's definitely worth learning to avoid with that as well as normal strafing. But yeah, like I said, nothing challenging here, so let's move on to the next level. Sargasso. And hey, wait, that's not Ratchet! Meet Rivet, Ratchet's alternate dimensional counterpart. She is badass and fortunately contains exactly the same moveset as Ratchet. Everything carries over, bolts, weapons, health, etc, etc, so no need to worry about anything drastically changing. Oh, she does wield a hammer instead of a wrench though. Yeah, I could have called this a melee only run, but wrench only has become synonymous with the series, so wrench hammer only is what I've elected to call this. I could have called it hench only, I mean come on, they must be hench. The strongest people in the world would fear them, you know those people who can pull trucks and lorries? Yeah, they would fear Ratchet and Rivet. They are so hench! Though technically speaking, it could still be a wrench-only run. The gold bolts give you different perks, such as changing the wrench colour, or additional items in photo mode, or changing Rivet's hammer into a wrench. If I were playing in challenge mode, I could technically make it a pure wrench-only run, but I didn't do challenge mode. For the most part, which we will get to near the end. Sargasso is another world that didn't pose any real difficulty. I expected sections to be challenging, and the Ground Force certainly did put up a good fight, but there's a fair amount of health, so nothing to fear. What is to fear is the Franois boss fight in the Sargasso debris field. The pirate enemies in this game are genuinely difficult, and this boss is no exception. One of Franois' attacks is a weapon that works like the bouncer. It's lethal and can overwhelm you as multiple blasts from the bouncer can combo you. Fun! Unfortunately, you can't complete every challenge in the arena, as there's a couple challenges that ask you to use a specific weapon, so unfortunately the 100% dream is dead. Oh, but wait. I forgot, that's not the only thing that isn't beatable. Let us turn back the clock to the tutorial in Megalopolis. To teach you how to play the game, it asks you to do a couple of tasks, like throw the wrench at this wall, or shoot these 3 balloons. Yeah, as of right now, there is sadly no way past this without firing 1 shot. Believe me, I've put hours into trying to work it out. There's even a section that warps you super high in the sky, but sadly it sends you backwards. If it sent you forwards or directly above, it'd probably be enough to reach the next island, but alas, right now it is not possible. Maybe one day someone will work it out. But we have to give a huge thank you to Grant Parker, who is a developer at Insomniac Games. They tweeted at me saying, "I can confirm this is the only spot you need to shoot. I did a wrench hammer only run about a month ago and removed all other blockers. This was the only thing that I couldn't remove without it causing a bigger issue. Sorry, I got you as close as I could." Thank you so much, Grant. The fact that you actually worked to make elements of the game possible that weren't is incredible, and it means a lot to this community. So, yeah, we fired a single shot. But it's not at an enemy, so does it technically count? Yeah, it does. But Ratchet nearly ended all life in every dimension, so who's the real villain here? Savali is one of the best planets in the entire franchise, and brings the heat constantly. I was really worried about the army of enemies trying to stop Clank's alternate reality counterpart, as you have to protect Kit as well as yourself. But thankfully my health upgraded mid-battle, so sometimes luck, annoying, unrelenting optimism, and multiple causes of blunt force trauma is all you need to triumph. There is one other feature in this game I haven't mentioned. Glitch is an adorable antivirus software that fights viruses to help you progress. To fight said viruses, Glitch will fire multiple guns. Typically, if it's a gadget or a mount, I don't count it as breaking the rules. It's about stopping Ratchet or Rivets from pulling the trigger. But if you want to be pedantic about the whole thing, you can actually skip these. Insomniac recognises the puzzles in the game might be difficult for some people, and this is one amongst many accessibility options, which I adore, so no need to worry. Well, maybe not worry about that, but you should probably worry about the 2 bosses at once. Yeah, these reside at the very end of the planet. Having to deal with these 2 plus enemies around them is genuinely intense, and a welcome difficulty boost. I don't want it to be easy the whole way. I want to feel alive, unlike Ratchet, who will definitely die multiple times in this run. We're going to skip Blizzard Prime and Cordelion as they're both pretty easy, though I will say I'm so impressed by the level design in this game. I could write an essay on how fun Cordelion is. What I love most is that every single level offers something completely different, and even though we're doing some of the quote-unquote same old content, the combat feels so fresh in this game. Rift Apart truly stands out in the series for its innovation, so thank you to everyone who worked on this for offering a truly diverse and exhilarating experience. Making Cordelion a horror-type planet for part of it is genius. Loved it. Right, let's move on to pain. I mentioned earlier the pirates are a problem, and oh boy. Yeah, these pirates have shields. I want them to burn, but sadly I can only bash their heads in, so we'll just have to do this the hard way. Honestly, even with weapons, these enemies can be a pain. They're very good at stopping most attacks. I found the best way to deal with them is to Phantom Dash behind them, then Hyperstrike, then Phantom Dash to the other side, then Hyperstrike, etc, until dead. But with a swarm of them, they will hit you in between, so a little luck here and there can't hurt. You'll also encounter another boss with the bouncer weapon. Unfortunately, this time they're far away, and they're firing at you whilst hordes of pirates are attacking you in this crowded space. This segment is unrelenting. I'm just grateful there aren't nefarious robots firing lasers at you from a distance, because that would probably break me. Shortly after this, Ratchet and Rivets finally meet, and it's such a wholesome scene. But forget that, because it's time for Rivets to bludgeon Nefarious to death. Okay, maybe not to death. I went into this fight preparing for the worst. I didn't die once. There's quite a lot of health crates throughout the fight, but the biggest surprise is you actually deal 2% of damage per hit, meaning you only need to hit Nefarious 50 times. I know, right? But now, the true threat arrives. Emperor Nefarious from Rivets Dimension arrives to show Dr. Nefarious how it's done. He threatens war on Rivets' planet Sargasso, so it's time to head back to protect the planet. And quite frankly, it's hardly worth mentioning. The inhabitants of the planet are fighting Nefarious' warbots, so they're distracted a lot of the time. War doesn't scare me, apparently. Job done. Ratchet returned to Ardolis. The journey was certainly not bliss. Fear crumbled his mind to the abyss. The pirates overwhelmed his bones. Yeah! Soon may the Wrenchmaster come, who tell the story of how they won. I've played 4 hours and damaged my thumbs to complete this milestone. We thought the shields were bad and they are. They left me with multiple scars. 2 bosses at once, both using the bouncer. To win you gotta be in the zone. Soon may the Wrenchmaster come, who tell the story of how they won. I've played 4 hours and damaged my thumbs to complete this milestone. Soon may the Wrenchmaster come, overwhelmed as we were, Ardolis is done. But now it'll be brutal and then some to complete this milestone. Only 3 levels remain. We're heading back to Savali, where an army of the undead awaits us. Whilst they don't take much to kill, it's a major problem when you're against an undead Grunfor. Clank, you are not wrong. The thing here is the Grunfor is fine, it's just a Grunfor, but it looks like it's undead. But the army surrounding it, constantly attacking you, becomes a major issue. I'll tell you what it's like. You know how when you're sad, and every tiny additional thing feels like a boulder being flung on top of you? Yeah, like that, but instead of a boulder, it's an army of the dead. You know, like normal day-to-day kind of undead, you know, like, you've experienced that once or twice, right? Yeah? After that, Ratchet, Clank, and Kit get sent to Zordom Prison by Nefarious, so it's up to Rivets to save them. Zordom was a mixed bag. On the one hand, the level actually was a lot more manageable than I was expecting. Genuinely, most of it was fairly straightforward. On the other hand, these dropship bosses, whilst not super hard, because there's a lot of health scattered around, were really hard to hit and took ages. But maybe I shouldn't complain, because it's time for the final boss, and those dropship bosses were just good practice. Now, I mentioned earlier that challenge mode would be relevant, and that is true. I did play this as I had been doing, but afterwards, for an added challenge, I decided to do the final level, and the final boss, on challenge mode. On the hardest difficulty. The AI is smarter, faster, and a lot more powerful. The only advantage I had was that I now had 200 health, which doesn't seem like much of an advantage when their attacks did 40 to 70 damage. So before we get to Nefarious, first we have to fight an army of enemies. This is pretty tough due to the range of their lasers and just how many of them there are. Our good friend the Nefarious Juggernaut is back, and yes, you guessed it, he's really hard to kill without getting hit because of the enemies. Hooray! I annoyingly died after I beat the Juggernaut, but mercifully the game gave me a checkpoint, so that actually wasn't an issue. What was an issue is Nefarious's first phase. Let's not mince words here, this is the best final boss in the series. It's got so much going for it, but man is it hard with the wrench and hammer. Emperor Nefarious has a huge mech suit, which can only be damaged by hitting the monitors on its hands and eyes. And where does it fire from? That's right! Out of its arse! No, wait, no, it's the other, it's out of its hands and eyes. It's very hard. So this will probably take a solid 30 minutes, assuming you don't die. One of the amazing things of challenge mode is your wrench's power actually remains the same, so you can take out the boss with the same amount of hits. The amount is of course over 200 though, so that's no easy feat. I found on challenge mode the boss attacks faster, so you have less time to get a hit in. But be patient, be calm, and absolutely leg it to where the health recharges each time you get hit. And yeah, you'll be fine. It's risky, and you have to like try and get as close as possible without jumping off, which you will do constantly. The amount of times I nearly fell off was ridiculous, but it is a lot of fun. This is, without a doubt, the hardest part of the run. Once you've beaten the Mechanical Menace's monitors, you head inside to defeat the heart. And I cannot believe how easy this is. The wrench destroys the 6 lights in one hit. Weapons take lots of shots to take down one of them. I have no clue why the wrench is this overpowered, but it is, and I am so grateful, because now all that is left is for Rivets to take down Nefarious. And it's not too bad. It's an expanded version of the previous Nefarious fight, but in a smaller arena. Nefarious even takes the same amount of hits. Sure, there are enemies around that will probably kill you if you're unlucky, but a final boss that only takes 50 hits to beat and is easily attackable? What a gift! This ends in the best way. Unlike Ratchet, Rivet respects the run. Rivet obliterates Emperor Nefarious with her hammer, and that's that. Game complete. This is easily one of my favourite Ratchet & Clank games. I haven't really taken time away from it to properly reflect on it, so it might be my new favourite, I genuinely don't know, but I've completed this game 4 times now in the space of like a week, and I've loved every single adventure. In terms of wrench-only difficulty, it's probably the second easiest behind Quest for Booty. If this had the playstyle of any of the others, I'd say this is probably the hardest, because the setups the game creates are genuinely super brutal, but the gameplay is so fun and refined and so fast that it feels easier. The wrench and the hammer are the absolute masters of dealing damage. The wrench did nearly as much damage as a fully leveled up Warmonger against a Nefarious Juggernaut, and that's the second most powerful weapon in the game. That's the level of power we're dealing with here. But with that said, I think it's time to end. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd very much appreciate it if you left a like, subscribe, share the video around. I also have a Twitch, a Twitter, and a Patreon if you would like to support me and the channel. And maybe click that notification bell to see what I upload next. It won't always be Ratchet, but I will do a lot of cool content, so certainly check it out, check out the channel. I also have a bunch of wrench-only runs, one for this game and all the other games that I've completed wrench-only, which is most of them. Basically every game that is actually completable wrench-only I have done. So yeah, I'd very much appreciate it if you check them out. Tell me, have you played Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart? Have you enjoyed it if you have? Are you looking forward to playing it? Are you going to attempt a wrench-only run? I'd love to see it. If anyone else attempts a wrench-only run, please send it my way. I would love to see it. And if anyone tries to beat that intro that can't be skipped, and you succeed, please tell me. I want to do it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure to make these videos for you, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.